ladies and gentlemen. We've all had those moments when motivation fades, the excitement dwindles, and the only thing left between us and our goals is sheer grit. It's in those moments that one truth becomes clear: consistency isn't glamorous, but it's everything. Today, I want to talk about why forcing yourself to be consistent isn't just a practice, it's a mindset that can change your life. Consistency builds trust because it sends a powerful unspoken message. You can rely on me in every relationship, whether with others or with ourselves. Trust is the foundation upon which everything else is built. Trust isn't created overnight, nor is it something you can demand. It's something you earn through repeated, reliable actions. And this is where consistency becomes not just important, but essential. When you show up consistently, you demonstrate that your actions align with your words. Think about someone in your life you deeply trust. It's likely not because of a grand gesture they made once, but because they've shown time and time again that they'll do what they say they'll do. They've been dependable, predictable in the best way, and steadfast in their commitments. Consistency builds that kind of relationship not just with others, but within ourselves. When we are consistent, we learn to trust our own capabilities and intentions. Inconsistency erodes trust. Imagine someone promising to meet you at a specific time only to cancel repeatedly or show up late without explanation. Over time, you'd naturally begin to doubt their reliability, even if their intentions were good. The same happens internally. If we set goals or intentions for ourselves but fail to follow through, we begin to chip away at our own confidence. We start to question whether we can really accomplish what we set out to do, not because the goal is out of reach, but because we've proven to ourselves through inconsistency that our actions don't align with our ambitions. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't require that you never miss a step or never have an off day. What it does mean is showing up as often as possible, even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. Consistency is choosing to send the email when you'd rather procrastinate, making the phone call when it's easier to avoid it, or dedicating 15 minutes to a project even when you feel like there's no time. These small, repeated efforts accumulate. Over time, they create a track record that tells yourself and the world that you are someone who follows through. In professional settings, consistency sets you apart. It's easy to start something with enthusiasm or deliver on one big project. But the person who consistently delivers high-quality work becomes invaluable. They become the go-to person because they've built a reputation of trustworthiness. In personal relationships, consistency fosters safety and reliability. It allows people to open up, to depend on you, and to invest in the connection without fear of being let down. With ourselves, the process is no different. When you consistently show up for your commitments, whether it's exercising, learning a skill, or simply sticking to a routine, you strengthen the trust you have in your ability to handle challenges and achieve goals. This self-trust is what propels you forward, giving you the courage to take on bigger challenges and to weather setbacks without giving up. Trust isn't something you declare, it's something you demonstrate. And consistency is the clearest, most direct way to show it. By showing up repeatedly, you become a person others can believe in, and more importantly, a person you can believe in too. Courage in the face of discomfort is a defining trait of those who push boundaries, grow, and achieve meaningful progress. Discomfort is an inevitable part of life, especially when you're striving for something new or stepping outside your comfort zone. It's the space where fear, uncertainty, and vulnerability meet. While it's tempting to avoid it, those who succeed understand that discomfort is not something to be feared, it's something to embrace. It's in this space that courage takes root and thrives. Courage isn't about the absence of fear or discomfort. It's about moving forward despite it. Often we wait for the perfect moment when we feel ready to take action. But readiness is a myth. The truth is, you will rarely feel ready to take on challenges that matter. Discomfort is the body's natural response to change, and the bigger the change, the more intense that feeling becomes. Courage isn't waiting for those feelings to disappear, it's recognizing them for what they are and choosing to act anyway. Discomfort often signals that you're on the edge of growth, whether it's starting a new project, speaking up in a meeting, pursuing a goal, or having a difficult conversation. These moments push you beyond what feels safe. Your instinct may be to retreat, but courage invites you to lean in. Each time you do, you expand your capacity to handle discomfort, making you stronger and more resilient. The more you step into those spaces, the more you prove to yourself that you can survive and even thrive in situations that once felt unbearable. Courage in the face of discomfort also requires vulnerability. It means being willing to risk failure, rejection, or embarrassment in pursuit of something greater. Vulnerability feels risky, but it's the birthplace of creativity, innovation, and connection. When you have the courage to be vulnerable, you open yourself to experiences that are not only challenging, but also deeply rewarding. You allow yourself to grow in ways that wouldn't be possible if you stayed within the boundaries of what's comfortable. It's important to remember that courage isn't a one-time act. It's a practice built over time through small, consistent decisions to face discomfort. It might start with a single step, a phone call, a first attempt, or a single word, but each step builds momentum. Over time, those small acts of courage accumulate into profound changes, both in how you see yourself and how you approach the world. There will be moments when discomfort feels overwhelming. In those times, it helps to remind yourself of your why. Why are you doing this? What do you stand to gain by pushing through the discomfort? Often, keeping your eyes on the bigger picture makes the immediate challenge more bearable. It reframes discomfort as a temporary state on the way to something meaningful rather than as a permanent obstacle. Courage isn't about being fearless, it's about being willing. Willing to face uncertainty, to endure discomfort, and to keep moving forward even when every fiber of your being is telling you to stop. It's in those moments that you discover your true strength and open the door to possibilities you never imagined. Progress over perfection is a principle that encourages action, growth, and resilience by prioritizing forward movement over unattainable ideals. Perfection often masquerades as a noble goal, but in reality, it can be paralyzing. The pursuit of flawlessness creates fear, failure, judgment, and inadequacy that keeps us stuck. By focusing instead on progress, we give ourselves the freedom to act, learn, and grow without the weight of unrealistic expectations holding us back. The idea of perfection can be seductive. We imagine the perfect outcome, the flawless execution, or the ideal timing, and we convince ourselves that anything less isn't worth doing. But this mindset creates a trap. We delay starting because we think conditions aren't right, or we abandon efforts because they don't meet an impossible standard. Progress, however, shifts the focus. It says start where you are, do what you can. Keep moving. It's a reminder that even small, imperfect steps are better than standing still. Progress is about embracing imperfection as part of the process. It acknowledges that mistakes, detours, and missteps aren't signs of failure. They're evidence that you're trying, learning, and growing. Every step, no matter how small or messy, brings you closer to your goal. The act of moving forward, even imperfectly, builds momentum. Each tiny success fuels the next effort, creating a cycle of growth and achievement that wouldn't exist if perfection were the standard. Perfectionism often stifles creativity and innovation. When we're fixated on doing something perfectly, we become risk-averse. We avoid experimentation because we fear the possibility of getting it wrong. But progress thrives on curiosity and adaptability. It encourages us to try new things, knowing that not everything will work out perfectly, and that's okay. In fact, it's often in the failures and imperfections that we discover the most valuable lessons. Progress over perfection also cultivates resilience. When perfection is the goal, failure feels catastrophic, a definitive end. But when progress is the goal, failure becomes just another part of the journey. It's a bump in the road, not the end of it. This mindset allows us to recover more quickly, adapt to challenges, and continue moving forward, no matter how difficult the circumstances. Choosing progress over perfection also means celebrating small wins. It's easy to overlook the little milestones when you're fixated on the big picture, but those small moments of achievement are what keep us motivated. Recognizing and celebrating them reminds us of how far we've come, reinforcing the belief that we're capable of continuing forward. Progress over perfection is about embracing the journey rather than obsessing over the destination. It's a recognition that growth and improvement come from consistent effort, not flawless execution. By letting go of the need to be perfect, we create space for action, for learning, and for the kind of meaningful, sustainable progress that leads to lasting success. It's a mindset that says you don't have to be perfect to make a difference. You just have to start. The power of habits lies in their ability to shape our lives, often without us even realizing it. Habits are the routines and behaviors we perform regularly, almost automatically, and they are the building blocks of our daily lives. They have an incredible capacity to influence who we are, how we think, and what we achieve. While they may seem small and insignificant in the moment, habits compound over time, leading to significant outcomes that can define the trajectory of our lives. Habits are powerful because they remove the need for constant decision-making. Each day, we face a barrage of choices, and our willpower is a limited resource. By forming habits, we automate certain behaviors, conserving energy and mental bandwidth for more important decisions. For example, brushing your teeth every morning is a habit one you don't question or deliberate over. Similarly, cultivating habits like exercising, reading, or practicing gratitude can become automatic, removing the resistance that often accompanies starting new activities. The key to harnessing the power of habits is recognizing their cumulative effect. A single healthy meal, one workout, or 1 hour of focused work might not seem transformative, but when repeated consistently over weeks, months, or years, these actions lead to profound results. The same is true for negative habits. Small, seemingly harmless actions like skipping workouts or mindlessly scrolling through social media can accumulate into significant setbacks over time. Understanding this principle helps us realize that habits, no matter how small, are never neutral. They're either moving us closer to our goals or pulling us further away. Creating positive habits often starts with small, manageable changes. One of the most effective strategies is the concept of atomic habits, making the habit so small that it's impossible to fail. I want to start exercising. Begin with a single push-up a day. Want to read more? Start with 1 paragraph. These tiny actions may seem trivial, but their purpose is to establish consistency. Once a habit is firmly rooted, it naturally grows, leading to greater and more sustained effort over time. Habits are also powerful because they reinforce identity. When you consistently act in a certain way, you begin to see yourself through the lens of those actions. For instance, someone who runs regularly doesn't just see themselves as someone who exercises, they start to identify as a runner. This identity reinforcement creates a feedback loop. The more you see yourself as the kind of person who does something, the more motivated you are to continue doing it. This is why building habits aligned with your goals and values is so transformative. It's not just about building habits, it's also about breaking the ones that no longer serve you. The same mechanisms that make positive habits powerful can make negative habits destructive. Breaking a bad habit requires disrupting the cue routine reward cycle that drives it. This often means replacing it with a healthier habit that fulfills the same need. Habits are the invisible architecture of our lives. They determine the kind of person we become and the life we create. By intentionally cultivating habits that align with our goals and values, we can harness their power to build a life of purpose, productivity, and fulfillment. Authenticity fuels discipline, because when your actions are aligned with who you truly are and what you genuinely value, discipline becomes less of a struggle and more of a natural extension of your purpose. Discipline is often misunderstood as sheer willpower or forcing yourself to do something you'd rather avoid. However, when you act from a place of authenticity, discipline transforms into something deeper. It becomes an act of self-respect and commitment to what matters most. Authenticity starts with knowing yourself. It requires clarity about your values, goals, and priorities. Many people struggle with discipline because they're chasing goals that don't align with their true desires or living according to expectations imposed by others. When your actions are disconnected from your authentic self, it feels like swimming upstream. Every step takes an enormous amount of effort, and burnout becomes inevitable. On the other hand, when you're pursuing something that resonates with who you are, the effort feels worthwhile. Discipline, in this context, becomes a way of honoring your own truth. This connection between authenticity and discipline is especially evident in moments of challenge or temptation. Imagine pursuing a fitness goal because society pressures you to look a certain way versus doing it because you genuinely want to feel stronger and healthier. In the first case, every missed workout or dietary slip like a failure, and the effort becomes burdensome. In the second case, the motivation comes from a place of self-care, and discipline feels more like a commitment to your well-being. When you're authentic about your reasons, setbacks don't derail you because your motivation is rooted in something meaningful. Authenticity also creates emotional energy that fuels discipline. When you're true to yourself, you tap into a wellspring of passion and purpose. This emotional connection provides the drive to keep going even when the work is hard or progress is slow. Discipline isn't just about what you do, it's about why you do it. A clear and authentic why keeps you grounded and focused even in the face of obstacles. It reminds you that the effort isn't just about achieving an outcome, it's about living in alignment with who you are. Being authentic also means embracing your imperfections. Discipline doesn't mean never making mistakes. It means being willing to show up consistently, even when things aren't perfect. Authenticity allows you to approach your efforts with grace and self-compassion, which makes discipline sustainable. Instead of getting caught up in rigid rules or self-criticism, you can focus on what truly matters: progress, learning, and staying connected to your values. Authenticity builds resilience, which is essential for long-term discipline. When you're living authentically, you're more likely to view challenges as opportunities to grow rather than threats to your identity. You understand that discipline isn't about proving something to others, but about staying true to yourself. This mindset helps you persevere, adapt, and keep moving forward even when the journey is tough. Authenticity is the foundation that makes discipline meaningful and sustainable. It ensures that your efforts are aligned with your purpose, your goals are rooted in your values, and your discipline is fueled by a genuine connection to who you are and what you care about most. When authenticity drives discipline, the process becomes not just bearable but fulfilling, because you're not just achieving, you're becoming the person you're meant to be. Resilience through failure is one of the most important skills you can develop because failure is inevitable in any meaningful pursuit. No matter how prepared or skilled you are, setbacks, mistakes, and missteps will happen. Resilience isn't about avoiding failure, it's about how you respond to it. It's the ability to adapt, recover, and continue moving forward when things don't go as planned. Failure, when met with resilience, becomes less of an ending and more of a stepping stone towards success. Failure often feels like a dead end, but in reality, it's part of the learning process. Every failure carries with it a lesson, an opportunity to grow and improve. Resilience is what allows you to see these lessons rather than being consumed by disappointment. It's the mindset that says this didn't work, but what can I learn from it, instead of internalizing failure as a reflection of your worth. Resilience reframes it as feedback, a necessary step toward getting better. The fear of failure often stops people from taking action in the first place. But when you build resilience, you're not as afraid to try. You understand that failure isn't final, and it doesn't define you. It's simply an event, a moment in time, not a label that sticks to your identity. Resilient people embrace failure as part of the journey rather than letting it derail them. They understand that every great achievement has a trail of failures behind it. The key difference is that they don't stop when they fall, they get back up. Resilience also involves managing the emotional toll of failure. Failing can trigger feelings of frustration, shame, or self-doubt, which can be paralyzing if left unchecked. Resilience isn't about suppressing these emotions, it's about processing them and then moving forward. It's okay to feel disappointed, but resilience means not letting that disappointment keep you stuck. It's the ability to hold space for your emotions without letting them dictate your actions. A big part of resilience is self-compassion. When you fail, it's easy to be harsh with yourself, to replay the mistakes over and over in your mind and criticize every decision you made. But self-compassion is what allows you to forgive yourself and try again. It reminds you that failure is a universal experience, not a personal shortcoming, and that every attempt, no matter the outcome, moves you closer to your goal. Resilience through failure also comes from maintaining perspective. Failure can feel overwhelming in the moment, but resilience helps you zoom out and see the bigger picture. It reminds you that one setback doesn't define your entire journey. It's a chapter, not the whole story. This perspective keeps you focused on long-term goals, even when the short-term feels discouraging. Resilience isn't just about surviving failure, it's about using it to thrive. It's what turns obstacles into opportunities, losses into lessons, and mistakes into momentum. With resilience, failure becomes not something to fear, but something to embrace, knowing that each stumble is a chance to grow stronger and wiser. Celebrating the process, not just the outcome, is a transformative mindset that shifts your focus from solely achieving goals to appreciating the journey it takes to get there. While outcomes are often seen as the ultimate measure of success, the process is where the real growth happens. It's in the day-to-day effort, the small wins, and the moments of perseverance that you build the habits, skills, and resilience that define who you are. By learning to celebrate the process, you create a more fulfilling, sustainable, and rewarding approach to life. Focusing only on the outcome can make success feel elusive. Big goals take time, and the road to achieving them is rarely straightforward. If your satisfaction is tied solely to the finish line, it's easy to become discouraged by the inevitable setbacks or the slow pace of progress. Celebrating the process allows you to find meaning and joy in the present moment, rather than deferring happiness to some distant point in the future. Every step forward, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity to recognize your effort and dedication. The process is also where personal transformation occurs. Achieving a goal is a moment in time, but the journey to get there is what shapes you. When you focus on the process, you acknowledge the discipline it takes to show up, the creativity you use to solve problems, and the courage you summon to push through challenges. These qualities don't just lead to a specific outcome, they become part of who you are. Celebrating the process reinforces these traits, helping you grow into the person you need to be to achieve not just this goal, but future ones as well. Celebrating the process also makes failure more manageable. If your happiness hinges entirely on reaching a specific outcome, any failure along the way can feel devastating. However, When you value the effort itself, failure becomes less of a blow. You can take pride in what you've learned, the skills you've gained, and the progress you've made, even if things didn't go as planned. This mindset builds resilience, allowing you to adapt and keep moving forward. Another benefit of celebrating the process is that it keeps you motivated. Big goals often require sustained effort over long periods, and it's easy to lose momentum if you don't acknowledge the progress you're making. Recognizing and celebrating small milestones, whether it's completing a challenging workout, mastering a new skill, or simply sticking to a routine, creates a sense of accomplishment that fuels your drive to continue.
When you celebrate the process, you also stay connected to your why. Outcomes are often tied to external validation, recognition, awards, or measurable achievements. The process, on the other hand, is deeply personal. It's about doing work that aligns with your values, pursuing goals that matter to you, and honoring the commitment you've made to yourself. This intrinsic motivation is far more powerful and enduring than any external reward.
Celebrating the process is about finding joy and fulfillment in the journey. It's a reminder that success isn't just about reaching the destination, it's about who you become along the way. By appreciating every step, every effort, and every lesson, you create a life that's rich in purpose and meaning, regardless of the final outcome. So force yourself to be consistent, not because it's easy, not because it's glamorous, but because it's worth it. Every time you choose consistency over convenience, you're becoming the person who doesn't just dream but does, the person who doesn't just start but finishes. Consistency is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Step onto it one steady footstep at a time. And when it gets hard, and it will remember the hardest step is the one that builds the most strength. Thank you. Hello, play HT support speaking. Right? Yeah. Sure, let me just pull up your details real quick. Can you tell me your account email or your phone number? Okay, there you are. So what are you actually looking for in the upgrade? Any specific features I've got your eye on?